Both my boyfriend and I cheated on each other and he did so much worse. Can we ever be together again? Need a bit of advice or just an outside opinion because I don't think I'm able to think rationally. My 24F boyfriend 35M and I were together for nearly 2 years, and we were so in love with each other. For the last few months we were long distance, because I wanted to live abroad and travel for a year before we settled down. Things went really wrong for us when we were apart. I went through some stuff. We argued non-stop, he became quite mean sometimes, and we both made mistakes. After several weeks of trying to keep my distance, I cheated on him with my manager who I'd been experiencing a lot of chemistry with. I felt horrendous and I told my boyfriend the next day. He was furious at first but later confessed. He'd been cheating on me with 4 different women since not long after I left. Honestly, I could have forgiven him, but he also confessed that he was under investigation for watching child pornography. He had a severe porn addiction, which obviously got very dark for a few months. This was before we met. I don't think anything will come of the investigation. It's been a long time and the police don't seem to have found anything since he'd stopped before the police approached him. But he knows what he did and now I do too. I was confused about my feelings because I was still so in love with him, but I knew in my gut I couldn't be with someone who did what he did. He begged me not to, but I broke up with him a few days after he told me everything. He said he'd always love me and that if I ever wanted him back he'd come running. 6 months after the breakup and no contact, I am still in love with him. And all I want is to be able to forget everything I know so we can be together. I know his arms would be wide open if I wanted to come back. My dilemma is he's gone to a lot of therapy over what he did. He says he feels like it was a different person and like that there was no attraction. It was a dopamine addiction thing and it just escalated out of control as addictions do. But at the same time, that's just a red line for me. There's a lot of crimes I would completely look past, but anything involving children just feels like a point of no return. I know if it was one of my girlfriends going through this, and they told me they wanted to go back to him, I would suggest a lobotomy and I would never be able to accept it or their partner. But I am so in love with him and the time we were together was the happiest time of my life. It was just so easy. We understood each other on a level I never knew existed and I felt like I was at total peace with him. He brought calm, grounding, stability and peace into my life and I brought a bit more joy and adventure and fun into his. There was nothing I couldn't talk to him about. I've been in love before, but this was a different level. We had already agreed that once I was ready we would get married, start a family, and he would support anything I wanted to do with my life, as I didn't really have it figured out yet. I've been with my manager who I cheated on him with pretty much since we broke up. At first it was just casual, but it's a more serious thing now and he is a wonderful man. I definitely have feelings for him, but when I think about my ex there's just no comparison. I truly don't think anyone else could make me that happy. This was my first Christmas away from home and I've been feeling really homesick and lonely, even though I spend it with good friends. My ex sent me a voice message on Christmas Eve, just saying that he still thought about me all day every day, and that he loved me and hoped I was okay being away from home at this time of year. I ended up calling him because I just wanted to feel close to him and we both cried our eyes out and spoke about us and how much we love each other. I maintained that we couldn't be together again, but he told me I didn't have to think about that until I came home. Since that phone call I can't stop thinking about how I would give anything to not know what I know. To have never have cheated on him so that he felt he had to tell me that. I wish I'd never left my home country and just stayed with him. We'd have never cheated on each other if it weren't for the distance, and he'd have never had to tell me about his past. Honestly, I would probably just suck it up and ran back to him considering how I'm feeling now. I don't feel like there's anybody else out there for me. I could never love like that again. But I told 2 of my closest friends back home what he did. I was never going to tell a soul, but I was all on my own on the other side of the world. I felt totally traumatized. So alone, and I felt like I was going crazy, sobbing myself to sleep every night. I had to talk to someone, so I called my friends together and told them. They're my best friends, and they would never accept our relationship if I went back. They'd never come to my wedding. They would probably never want to see me again if I ended up with someone who did what he did. And I can see why. My question is there any solution here? Do I have to choose between the living rest of my life with the man I love more than anything, but constantly living with skeletons in the closet and potentially losing my best friends, or losing him forever and asking myself every day what we could have been, meeting someone else and having a life with them but always thinking about somebody else? Am I ever going to be able to get over this and be happy?